Now from Hollywood, California, the horror capital of the world, the Boulet Brothers, Creatures of the Night.
Well, welcome, strangers. Pull up a chair by the fire and sit a spell. Have a listen as we spin a yarn about all those haints that call the old ghost town home. On this episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night.
So I see your body is here in Boulet Manor, but your heart is still in the ghost town.
It's out in the desert. That location is so fun. I loved being there. It was fun to revisit it, watching this episode again. Like, it was just so cool.
Yeah, I wonder if people clocked it from the Boulet Brothers Dragula season 4. I think it was was it 3? It was the ghost.
I think it's Weird Wild West.
Weird
right?
Wild West.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did our intro filming out there.
Yeah, you're spilling the tea. So the fire that Priscilla and Disasterina dance across at the end of this episode is the same fire that Coco gets roasted on back in season 4. Yeah, pretty cool.
It's built up a lot since that first time. I really love it, though.
It's so charming, and you know, there's a pretty much right on the outskirts of what you see on the show. How cool would it be to just inhabit that fantasy, like build it and then live in it?
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't do, our world is kind of similar.
That's true.
It's not that different.
Well, that's why we can appreciate it. How about that interesting story we heard about Knott's and the minecart ride? You know, that Magic Mountain minecart. Remember someone told us that the guy that built it, part of the deal was he was like, I'll build this for free, but I have to live in it forever. And he did.
Yeah, they said yes. So there's the old minecart ride in the middle of Knott's, and we go on it every year. But somewhere in there, as legend would have it, there is a bedroom and a little domicile from this guy who built it, which is so cool.
I want to see it.
It's so creepy. I love it.
Me too.
And this episode, I think, visually really evokes Knott's, right? It's that old West haunted vibe. If you've been to Scary Farm, you know that's definitely the vibe. So it's a cool parallel.
It is. I was really happy. So just to, remind everybody, this is Creatures of the Night post-mortem recap. We're recapping the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans season 2, episode 6, which is The Ghost Town.
That's right. We jump into this intro featuring our clan of hot boys, and I want to kind of just bring attention to the surprise star of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans 2, which is the Wolf Rug. Yeah, it's Rug. If you've been a fan of our use of puppets back in season 4 to our Boulet Brothers marionettes, which you've seen on several iterations of the show, and now you've seen this Rug. This is all the work of our good friend who's a major talent. His name is Matt Scott. He lives here in LA. He worked for the legendary Bob Baker for years of the Bob Baker Marionette, a historic marionette theater here in Los Angeles, before he started his own company, Rasputin Marionettes. And you can see them at our Halloween ball and all across our projects because we love him, not only as a person, but what he creates. He gets what we want, and it's so magical. And that's actually his voice. He is the voice of the Rug.
Yeah, he's a total, a carny character like we are. You know, where does this person come from? What is their story?
Yes.
And he sort of fits in with us in so many different iterations of our career from a million years ago.
Yeah.
Whether it's nightlife events or live events or Knott's or whatever.
The root and genesis of our friendship with Matt goes all the way back to the beginning of Dragula.
I remember that. Yeah. I had a question for you.
Okay.
Are there any weird rumors online that you've seen that you want to address or talk about or make fun of while we have a moment?
I don't know. Nothing jumps out per se. I've been kind of keeping my distance a little bit. I did see this one thing, though, earlier, back on a few episodes ago when basically Jaharia had her meltdown.
Yes.
And it was episode 4 and 5 were tons of drama.
Yes.
And episode 4 really set it off. But Jaharia really took my words during Judgment to heart. And I think there was a feedback from the fans that were like, this was a heartfelt moment.
Yeah.
This was seeing that, we have hearts and we're connected to the competitor's experience. And like, it was out of care.
Right.
But then someone like kind of recently pointed out, was like, you know what? Let's talk about Swan and Jaharia on that episode, because I've seen plenty of competitors fall out in seasons past. Why does she deserve the support? What's so triggering about the word disappointment or fall from grace? I mean, it was a fall from, and I was like, oh God, give anybody any amount of time and they'll turn something good into something rotten.
Yeah, but there have been other people that have taken critiques hard, but Jaharia is really nice and sweet, and she never causes any trouble, and that's gonna get a different reaction than someone who goes apeshit and nuclear every single episode multiple times. You kind of get a little numb to it, and you're like, they'll be all right.
Yeah,
give them a Xanax, put them to bed.
Put this over your cage and it's bedtime.
Yeah.
How about you? Are there any things kind of floating around that you want to address?
No, I mean, people seem to be loving the season. I love that. I mean, there's always this voice, right, that thinks everything we do is nefarious. And I forget about that and I get reminded of it. Yeah. It's like you put on these red colored glasses and then everything we do is somehow corrupt or corruption, or we're favoring someone or we're pushing someone, which I'm like, I just don't understand the idea of us pushing someone. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean we think they suck, but we are trying to make them be good?
I mean, if you strip it of all of its illusions, that's exactly what it means.
That's ridiculous. Why would we do that?
Somehow we applaud or celebrate someone who's not deserving of it.
But what is the personal gain there?
I don't know.
Like,
I think it's wacky.
What do they possibly have to offer? No kidding.
I think it's wild. I mean, there's other stuff too. Like, my favorite is, the Boulets just don't get this drag. They don't get this. They don't understand Filth. I'm like, I made this up. This is a world I created. Just a reminder before you drag experts out there try to drag me, check yourself.
Yeah, they don't get it. I'm like, don't forget, we built this entire world. We built the competition. We outlined the rules. Only we know what we're looking for. So who could possibly, know what we're looking for more than us? And as far as understanding it, remember, we handpicked all these people because we love them and brought them here. Exactly. We understand everything that they do. It doesn't mean we love everything they do. But that part doesn't bother me because it is art. What these cast members and stars are bringing to our platform is art. Mm-hmm. And people are always going to have opinions about art. Yeah. So that doesn't bother me when they disagree with us. Like Priscilla, for example. I kind of want to talk about that for a second.
Sure.
People were really disappointed that Priscilla went home. And I think the story of her floor show resonated with a lot of people, which I love that. Yeah. I love that. I love it. I love Priscilla. I want Priscilla to go to the end,
Yeah.
But I do have to say, there's a certain bit of choice that's made with the way the audience sees it, right? Because I think Priscilla's was message over look, right? Mm-hmm. But a couple of episodes ago for the Gothic wedding, Blackberry decided to do something that was non-traditional, which was this callback to American Gothic sort of slavery, right? And the horror of being an escaped slave. Mm-hmm. And I remember people really giving us a hard time about her not being in the bottom for that.
Right.
And so that's an instance where they didn't take the story to art. So it's very selective in what people see and resonate with. And it's hard to judge, honestly.
It's true. But never forget this. If you agree with what we say, then you're smart and we love you. And if you disagree, then you're not smart, but keep watching the show. Just sit with that for a minute and we will be right back. We have returned, my darlings, and it's time to sling open those saloon doors and step into the world of the ghost town. Now, we announced this theme at the end of the last episode, which I kind of like that because it allowed us to jump right into location.
Yeah.
Which was fun. And this whole episode, I think, provided some levity, and which we needed, because the drama of episode 4, you thought, oh, it couldn't get crazier, and then it did on episode 5. Where I think we're all kind of exhausted because it's so good. But this episode provided us with like a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to kind of go back to what you were saying about doing the challenge issuing at the end of the previous episode. Again, I think the audience has been calling for on location episodes, fully on location, meaning, you know, they get challenge issue there, they do it, they get ready, everything.
Yeah.
And this was a way that we could do that, because the show is so big now that there's no way that we could like drive there, get in drag, tell them what it is. I mean, we would be there for like 2 weeks, and we can't do that anymore.
It was seamless.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an issue to get that. And I like breaking the normal flow of an
Me
episode.
too.
Like every episode we say, we do this, we do that. And it's fine because it works, but I like these surprises. Maybe you know who's going home. Maybe like if this episode, you do not.
Right.
And maybe you get the new next episode's challenge while you're still in the look from this episode's look. And I'm like, this is kind of surprising, and it's exciting, and I want to do more of it.
I agree with that. Now, the flip side of that is that sometimes on an episode, like 4 people go home, or it feels like 4 people are going home, when really it was 2 from the previous and 2, you know.
Yeah, but the people were saying that like Titans 2 episode 5 is legendary, I think, amongst like reality television, because like you could say it, 4 people went home.
Right.
We went
but that's not in fact.
We went from 11 to 7. Yes, but I mean, it's over the course of 2 episodes, but you really find out only on the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing we find out here in this this opening section, the donkeys. We need to talk about the donkeys for a minute, because they're cute. Like, we got there, and everyone is so delighted, and the donkeys are adorable. But Eva and JK got it right, because JK is obviously petrified, and Eva's like, oh, not to be trusted. Once upon a time, we went on a field trip to the LA County Fair, because we love to do that. We'll go to the Orange County Fair, the LA County Fair. We love to see the animals, the crafts, the table decorating contest, the rides, the food.
We're over there looking at vegetables.
Oh my
We're
God.
looking at the pumpkin contest.
We
We're
are those
judging the
bitches.
table setting.
Yes. Oh my, it's so fun. Like, we get down with that. But we also love the animals. So we went into the animal petting zoo, and they had all these animal babies. It was like this magical Snow White opportunity where there's like ducks and goats, and there's all kinds of stuff. And there's a donkey. And you remember too, we were in there, we had handfuls of feed, and we're like, oh my God, everything's so cute. And I bend down, and all the animals are eating from everybody's hand. And then, like right on my ass. I mean, this ass bit me on the ass, this baby ass.
Yes, but I do want to point out, that's back when skinny jeans were in style, and you had that full dump truck packed in there, sticking out like a ripe peach, and that donkey decided to take a bite.
That peach is still there, but yes, that donkey took a hard bite, and it fucking hurt. Like, I could not. Those teeth are no joke. JK is right to be scared.
Well, I disagree. I love donkeys. I think they're so cute. In fact, I follow a baby donkey on TikTok called Stella, and I love my Stella updates.
That's adorable.
So yeah, I love donkeys, but I do have to say, probably my second favorite thing about this episode is JK's battle with the donkey and the edit of the donkey.
Yes.
It was keeping me entertained all
so much
episode.
joy. Like, I applaud the editing team who decided to invest in the donkey footage. Love it. So I think I'm going to take a broad stroke at this episode because it is lighter.
Yeah. We
did lose Disasterina and Priscilla, and I think by everybody's measure, these are the lights in the cast. They're fun and fun-loving. They're humorous, but that's gone. But somehow, like, kind of ironically, this episode has a lot of levity, and I'm really grateful for it.
Me too.
We get Sigourney and Eva and Abora kind of like talking about Jaharia. Is she duplicitous? Is she not? And they try to like sort of work that out. We have Blackberry and Cynthia kind of seemingly burying the hatchet, making a little bit of an amends, at least a step toward a resolution, which is good. Blackberry tells like a very kind of moving story here, and it was like during the pandemic, and the drag that Blackberry was doing was pretty much the breadwinning moneymaker for their family because they were going through these hard times. And I just think Blackberry is so mature and has gone through a lot. And I just want to applaud them because that story was so heartfelt. And, you know, maybe Blackberry carries a weight that I don't know that other competitors can sort of relate to.
Certainly did at the time, you know? I mean, think about your family living in a hotel and you're going out and doing Dragon Night is what putting food in everybody's mouth.
It's wild and critical. And also like with all of Cynthia's like crazy incendiary outbursts, like Blackberry just remained calm, mature, like a lot of respect for Blackberry.
I mean, this is why I love Blackberry. Not only that, but like she's just good-hearted, she's earnest, she's talented, she's professional. I don't like to see this battle between her and Cynthia because as strong as Blackberry is, I think she probably doesn't like this kind of conflict. And I do think it's tripping her up 100%.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Cynthia's kind of like is dualistic in this way because she is petty and she's messy and she's coming for her and she admits that. But we've seen over and over and over, Cynthia is very sympathetic to her sisters and friends. Like she will leave the room and go comfort you while you're hugging the tree. She will be there in your weakest moment to build you back up. Like over and over and over we see it. So it's kind of interesting dynamic there. We get to the creatives and I think I'm most excited about Abora kind of living in this space again because episode 2 of season 2 is kind of legendary, you know, like that Ghost Town challenge I felt was so good.
I think back to that day.
Okay, yeah.
And I think of how the timeline could have been so different for Dragula and everybody involved had things just went slightly different. Mm-hmm. Because there's definitely a world where Victoria could have won episode 1 of season 2.
100%.
Abora would have won episode 2. Bitch would have went home on episode 2. And who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
If I had to predict it, I think potentially Dolly would have won the season.
Potentially.
Because
Victoria also. And honestly, if Majesty played different cards, Abora was such a dark horse. And you know, that season stands in the minds of the fans for a reason. It was cast within an inch of its life, and at the time these were really kind of magnetic characters in the drag world, the underbelly of the drag world. Right. You know, like Drag Race was on the rise, maybe they were around like season 6 or 7, the height of kind of like their rise. And these were subversive, transgressive, queer artists that we brought and put in front of as many people as we could.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what would have happened, but like, I see a very different timeline, one very specifically different timeline for Dragula, and it's all about that episode and that season.
Yeah, I agree. So we make it to the floor show, and our sinister satanic partners in crime on this episode, Twin Temple, who
Alex and Zach, we love them.
To us, they're Alex and Zach, and because we have like a genuine outside of Dragula world friendship with them.
They're part of our satanic coven.
That's right, the Coven of Darkness.
Yes.
It was so fun to have them out there. Finally, I felt like it was like a couple of years in the making. If you remember back to our Halfway to Halloween special, we featured them then, and we had already been friends for a little while. So we've been trying to figure this out for a bit.
Yeah, I really wanted to put a lot of people from our viewing party on the show this year because we get to sit with them and watch the show and hear their opinions. And they have a lot of strong opinions.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm always like, all right, if we put you on the show, are you going to say, you know, what the kind of stuff that you say when we're watching it together?
Oh, yeah.
And some of them do and some of them don't.
Maybe I'll stay and maybe I'll go. I am an extermination challenge. So was there anything that, you know, kind of looking again, was there anything that stood out or come to light that you didn't mention in this week's judgment?
Yes. I would say I was considering track record a lot in this judgment. And I think looking back, I'm not sure that Cynthia should have been in the bottom necessarily. I could have seen Jaharia potentially being in the bottom. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking, you know, we're starting to form who we're choosing for the next challenges that are going to be very difficult and who we think will rise to the challenge of those challenges and who's going to end up in the finale. And that's where my brain is during these times, you know?
That's a dangerous dance,
it
right?
Is. It is.
It is a dance that we have to partake in every single season, though.
Yeah.
You know, we have to, on the left hand, we're balancing this challenge, not track record. Don't look at that. What are they delivering for the prompt? But then in the right hand, you have, this is a long game. There's a bunch of horses in this race, and not all of them can make it to the end. So what is that pack of horses going to look like? And that is a tricky balance.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would say I thought I really liked JK's look. I'll say that again. I said it on the show. I liked it.
I was scared at first. I was like, whoa, but then it was so strange and innovative and kooky and cool and like unexpected. It was a very pleasant surprise, and I think it flexed JK. It highlighted this makeup flex, like in the eyes and that weird hat. Like there were so many strong choices that could have went one way or the other, but I think it added up to a very effective visual.
I agree with that. And then we had a Blackberry, which we discussed, you know, again, the prop malfunctions and stuff. I don't think it was a favorite look for the judges. You know, a lot of people say, how do you come to the conclusions we do? The guest judges definitely have a strong say in it, and we respect what they vote for when it comes time to decide who's in the top and the bottom.
Yeah, and that's not throwing all the onus on them. There were malfunctions for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Cynthia had malfunctions as well. I want to touch on Jaharia's look. May not have been the best, but once we get to the performance, super strong.
Right.
And the storytelling in the look was 100% there. You didn't have to wonder. Like, I kind of wondered, how did the gravedigger die? Is the gravedigger dead? I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
You know? So
Sigourney said that, I think. I don't know if it made the cut, but she was like, well, how did your character die?
Yeah. Yeah. And for like Sigourney's, it was so clear. And Jaharia's, it was extremely clear.
Yeah.
We do get to that lip sync, and I think there's something really magical about this video. Like, that's how I look at it. I think it's the place where Dragula meets the Haunted Mansion meets the Wild West.
Created by us. I mean, this was a chance for us to flex our directing capabilities a little bit. We don't always get to do that on the floor show on the main part of the show, because it's the same stage, it's the same equipment. There's only so much you can do. So when we planned this, we both are huge fans of that Haunted Mansion palette, that color palette, and mixing sort of death with these purples and blues, and I think we really nailed the vibe that we were going for.
Me too. And also an important ingredient in that is fun. Like, even though the Haunted Mansion is like morbid and there's ghosts and death, just like our Ghost Town challenge, it's fun in that saloon. I want to be there partying with these spirits.
Yeah, you could almost see like the bride from the Haunted Mansion at the end in the attic, like in this room with these characters.
Oh, 100%. And I could feel it while we were shooting it, that we were making something memorable and cool.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, because we do direct the floor shows and we work with them, and it's not linear. When we're there directing it, we're there for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it gets cut down into a 5-minute music video. How much of what you see as a director that doesn't make it to the final edit influence your decisions?
A lot,
right?
A lot. And I struggle with that, because I think what you just said, as someone on set, do you let what you see on set weigh heavy in your judgment, or do you see what actually makes it to the floor show cut, and that's what you judge? Because that's what the fans see,
right?
And I think that's where a lot of our confusing what might be confusing, or what are the Boulets seeing that we don't see. It's because we were there all day. You get to see 90 seconds of one person. I get to see 9 hours of them, and it's not just what they're doing on camera. But I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Like, sometimes I think we shouldn't watch. I shouldn't look at it. I should just wait till the cut is done and then judge. But that's not how TV works.
No, I know. I mean, that's something to consider, though. There is one floor show that we sort of did that way that's coming up, that I saw it in the cut, because we're doing all these projects at once. We weren't just filming Titans at the time of Titans. We were filming a holiday special, another something else I can't get into. Well, we were very busy, and so I remember missing one, and I watched the floor show just with the footage, and I was like, my opinion, was very different than the production crews. So it's something to think about in the future. We might want to adjust somehow. But see, adjust it how? Because because the editors clean it up and make it beautiful. That was the thing with Priscilla's look last week. The editor made that cohesive and made the story make sense. When you were watching it in person, it did not make a lick of sense.
It was hard.
It was all out of order. It was I was like, wait, what is happening here? And then she fucked the dirt, and I was like, now I'm totally lost. Yeah. But the editor, I think, put it together in a way that made sense. So I don't know. It's something we should talk about in the future, I think.
Yeah, I think this season, maybe more than any other season, we're seeing kind of slip-ups. We're seeing malfunctions and props breaking and that kind of thing. I think it's the right thing to do so that the fans can see what we saw, but it also kind of goes against the grain of the artist in me. Because going back to the origins of Dragula, we always wanted to make a idealized exhibition of what they brought.
Right. An edited version.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a double win this episode. And I want to talk about the idea of a double win for a second, because it's a little cheap. Right? It's like a little cheap. Like Sigourney said, I have a win, but I know other people are going to say it's a half a win. And yes, you do share it. But I think in this case, there were two definitely different criteria. And there were two kind of songs of celebration to sing. No one person, I think, maybe nailed both. Yeah.
And we haven't done that yet this season. I think once per season is okay. I'm not a fan of double wins. Like I'm always like, no, it's cheap.
It is cheap.
Let's not do a double win. I'm all for a double elimination because then you don't have to pick.
Or a double.
Or a double. 6 people in one episode. We'll go for that next on Titans 3.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. I get why people would have a problem with a double win, but I think in this instance it was justified. And again, there's a little bit of chess being played because there's challenges coming up that we have criteria to meet. You need a certain amount of people, a certain amount of wins versus losses, all that stuff.
There's mechanisms of the show that we have to consider.
People have to trust us. We're building a story here.
It might be scary, and we know that, but you have no choice. You have to trust us. Okay, so the cauldron, I think, is relatively unremarkable. Like, people are just kind of like spilling their guts and talking about track record versus what they did in that challenge.
And what do you think? Because we see the cast talk about this all the time, but we never say our opinion on it. So what is your opinion on that? When it comes to putting someone up for extermination and then choosing who to remove, how much does their track record come into play, or is it different all the time?
It's different all the time. And I'm the kind of bitch that will justify my instincts, and that's what I go on.
Well, I don't think that's a bad thing.
That's all I can do, as a person and an artist and just someone in the world. Like, I don't know everything, but I do have an inner voice. And when my inner voice tells me, like, no, it can be this, even though it doesn't feel like it, I get it. A lot of people don't necessarily agree with me. My inner voice is screaming it. And sometimes that means, hey, this person has shown me so much in previous challenges. It is about track record. They've slipped a little, and I've given other people passes, so I'm giving a pass. And other times it's like, this was an important challenge to show their ability, and if they weren't able to do it, it's time to go because I know what's coming down the road. Yeah, what do you think?
I think it's a bunch of different things that come into play. For example, if there's 2 people that did sort of equally poorly in a challenge, and I know what their workstations look like, and I know what kind of stuff they have with them, and I know that they ain't got shit left, I would say they're going to go home because I know they're going to suck on the next episode. Like, I've said that before with, like, wink, wink to people at home. When someone has shown everything they got, it's because they ain't got anything else.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the end of the road for them, because if you keep someone and then you send someone home who has something good on the next episode,
Yeah. You're making me so nervous right now.
Why?
First of all, it's so fun to talk to you. Like, I wasn't even in a good mood before we started talking about this episode, and I love you, and I love to talk to you about everything.
Same with you. We're always talking. We're just recording it for an hour.
I know, it's too funny. But you're making me nervous because I feel like you're You're really giving listeners a little like peek into the way our mind actually works when it comes to judging and building.
Of course, I mean, I can see the fabric. I can see, whose station has a lot of stuff at it. If I ask them to make something on the next episode, are they going to be able to do it? Because you know what I mean. Sometimes people will show up and you'll be like, that bitch has got one suitcase. Yeah. Like, she don't plan on being here for very long.
This diva has 15 suitcases and you have 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I always think of Sigourney and Betty. They're 2 characters from season 4, particularly, that when they showed up, a beautiful line of perfect suitcases, like 1,000 of them.
All matched.
Betty's was all in perfectly pink single bags with, and she had all of her stuff together. All her jewelry was super organized. That's how I am. If I went on a show like this, I would show up with all that too.
Yeah.
So they were very organized and I liked that. And probably,
there were other workstations where it literally looked like someone took 3 or 4 suitcases, unzipped them and opened them, and then spun around in a circle and just let everything fly everywhere.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
But I've learned that all that prep doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do great, because I saw someone with literally 1 bag who made it very far on a previous season. And I was like, I don't know how you did it, but you did. So.
And I think this all adds up to, we go with what our instinct is. We try to play as fair as possible. We're actually not playing favorites. No one's getting pushed. Like, this is what we might see a lot more than everybody else does when it comes to that challenge. So
I don't I love all of them, and I don't like anybody enough to give them an unfair advantage. There has been times where I know someone's very talented and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you another chance because I have seen you turn it out live in person before. And I really believe that you're going to do it next episode. They usually don't. And so I've kind of stopped doing that. But yeah, that's happened in the past.
Let's talk about snakes in a coffin.
Okay.
And these were no jokes.
No.
These were like big girl snakes. Like,
yes.
This was so serious. It just kept coming.
Yeah.
It was just more and more and more and more. And we don't know the culmination, the ultimate outcome of this extermination yet. And we won't until the beginning of next episode. But what we do know, and I didn't notice it that day, and I didn't notice it until I started reading some comments, and then I went back and watched it. The first snake that goes on top of Cynthia is that albino snake.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she starts singing Britney, I'm a slave for you.
That's what she was doing. I had no idea. I did not pick up on that at all. I didn't know what she was.
She was petrified, but she made it fucking pure comedy. I love her.
Can you imagine it's the same snake?
Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah, those snakes were no joke. And you know what else wasn't a joke?
What?
Coordinating. This is what people, when they're like, do more location challenges. Coordinating getting our massive crew out to this ghost town, housing everybody, feeding everybody. Getting Disasterina and Priscilla out there without anybody noticing.
Hiding them all day.
Getting a snake wrangler with 1 million snakes out there in the middle of nowhere. Like, I mean, this was really difficult to pull off. Yeah. But I'm glad we did it. I think it paid off. But I hope people understand in the future, if we don't go on location 1,000 times, it's like,
it's tricky. It's a lot. It's very hard. So we have to put a pin in that extermination for now, and we will learn the outcome ultimately next episode. But we do move on to our second disqualification of this season in Jade Jolie, right before this episode's Hellbound Showdown. I don't think we're going to go into this. I don't. I think Jade came out and said something today that was really respectable. Just saying that I hope everybody can respect that I'm not going into this. I love the show. I love my experience. We're not making light of what happened, and much like Zava's, I don't think it was like cute or cunty, and in some ways it was a little dangerous, and it wasn't maybe legal. I don't know.
Well,
there were reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I love Jade.
Me too.
I love Jade on the show.
Me too.
There was bad behavior that was inexcusable on Zava and Jade's part. I want people to know that this isn't some kind of cute, she spilled this or she said that. You got to remember, no one's ever been removed from the show, and people have done crazy shit on the show. So you must imagine what happened was pretty serious, and it's not a joke, and it's not funny, and it's not cute.
It wasn't that they they spoiled Hellbound Showdown. Like that's so small. We would never eliminate someone's path because of something stupid like that.
No,
it was serious. So that's that. And we get to this very strange lip sync between Disasterina and Priscilla. And that night I felt like I entered the Twilight Zone.
It was very weird. So the first thing that happened was Disasterina grabbed one of the prop chairs that was part of the locations, right? And decided to break it into the fire and break it on the rocks and catch it on fire. So that cost us $500, right?
Yeah.
That
I was
sucked.
like, I'm watching it and I'm like, that's not our chair. And if I've learned anything in the world of television, when you break the stupidest little thing on a set, they charge you maximum times 3.
Oh,
like it is crazy.
Do you remember the couple of $1,000s we paid for that
leg
junky?
on that couch.
That couch,
Yeah.
that little leg.
Yeah.
The cap came off of it. And they're like, we have to order a brand new one for $7,000. I was like, this is a piece of shit that you got at the thrift store, but okay.
Seriously. Yeah, this was hard because I don't think, if you've seen Disasterina perform, and Disasterina just performed with us on Halloween in Boston, and she takes you on the strangest, most unusual ride in her performances, where she sings, or there's backup people. It's very performative, and that's part of the magic. Like it's very bizarre. But it's also very fun and very Disasterina. Her just kind of lip syncing and kind of serving it just isn't what she does. So I don't know that this was the best opportunity for Disasterina to flex her skills to stay.
Yeah, and it was Priscilla's, right? Because Priscilla's style lends itself to a sultry, sexy song.
Totally.
She loves that kind of thing and doesn't get to do it a ton on the show. So she absolutely owned that Hellbound Showdown. I think Disasterina gave up. It made me sad because I think behind the scenes she felt very crushed.
Yeah.
I remember she was like missing for a minute and people were concerned about her. And I was like, God, I hate to see that. But I hope she realizes that this isn't actually her last opportunity. And we will continue to put her on the show until she's 80. So dry those eyes.
Oh, what a perfect opportunity to think about that. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with listener questions.
Alright, everybody, welcome back, and now it's time to answer your listener questions. Remember, if you have a question for us about this episode of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans or this recap episode of the podcast, please send your questions into creatures@bouletbrothersdragula.com, and we will try to answer them live on air. Now, first up, Jaden from New Jersey asked, how in God's earth did you get Priscilla and Disasterina to the desert without the cast knowing?
Well, I don't know.
I know.
I don't know.
It was some producer's job.
Yeah, there's a team of people that handle all of these little like spinning wheels to make the machine work. And so I'm sure it was like probably 5 people's job to like organize the vans and where they're going to stay and like a location on location, but away from everybody where they can be housed and fed and sheltered because it was hot. Like this was like summer in the obvious desert. So yeah.
Some kind of ridiculous stuff that probably required them to be in drag for an extremely long time, just sitting in a van in the air conditioner.
Oh my God. This one's from Ash. Hi, Boulets. I have to say, the lighting in the Wild West episode this season of Titans was on point. I was wondering if you could go into any specifics in the lighting department for that episode as well as the main set.
So the set was a location that we've
used before.
Yeah, that we've used before, that we mentioned. And the lighting was something specific that we really wanted to do. I have to give some love to our DP, Carissa. Carissa is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And, we tell her our vision and she executes it. We were very specific with this one. A lot of times we'll come in and be like, no, this is too bright, or we don't like this, or we don't like that palette. So our our opinions and vision are executed through our crew, and we just couldn't have a better crew. They worked very hard to try to bring our vision to life.
Oh, we love you guys. And I think if you've listened to this whole episode, you understand like the color palette of the Haunted Mansion in a cartoony yet kind of sinister world was our inspo for this.
Yeah. Zion from Seattle asks, I love the interview you did on Very Scary Delta last year. My question is, have you ever gotten the chance to listen to the song The Mummy's Bracelet by Lee Ross? We absolutely have.
Of course. I mean, that was probably the first thing we did when we got back to the car. I wanted to hear it right away.
And I would love to cover that and have Delta on the song.
Me
I think
too.
that would be so fun.
Oh, that is so
We'll do
cute.
it.
Anthony from New Jersey. I am a huge fan and I love the show and the podcast. Well, Anthony from New Jersey, you have really good taste. I have a question about your music, though. My favorite song that you've put out is R.I.P., and I listened to it so much this past Halloween season. Do you have plans to release more music as hard-hitting and dark as that particular track?
I mean, I'm just going to speak for myself. You may feel differently. I don't have an interest in doing that. I think that sound and Time to Die and all that was part of us sort of breaking into music. And I remember it was a path, going down a path that I did not resonate with, that didn't feel like us to me. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't like it and I didn't want to do it. And, you know, the Halloween house party was like what I felt in my gut I really wanted to do. And I loved it. And I thought we did well on it. And I love everything about it, and I would make more music like that probably. But, you know, that's just my side of it.
Yeah. For me, I love that song too. I wrote that song. I performed most of that song, and I like the hard stuff that we've put out. But I think that the Halloween house party and the kind of retro vibe is such a sweet spot for us. It really is the soundtrack to our love letter to Halloween. And that lives in so many of the project that we create. So I won't say no, that we'll never go back and do something hard, because I can never say never. I'm sure I can imagine it down the road. But right now, I think we're really into this idea of nostalgia, but bringing it up to a modern pace and also putting a horror spin on it.
Well said. Finn from Newcastle asks, when international queens compete, what is the process for auditioning and getting them on set? Must they live in the US or make their own way there for it to work, or is there methods for getting them into the competition? It's the same as with people in the US. They just have to apply, they put in their audition tapes, and then we take care of getting them here and all that stuff, just like anybody else.
Yeah, they have to go through the same process. They do not have to live in the United States. They do not have to be responsible for getting themselves here. That's something that we, the production company, take care of and facilitate. But there is a process, right? And it has to start way in advance, because there's a visa process, and it's only gotten harder now with this administration, where people have to go through crazy hoops, as you can imagine, to get in and make it viable for you to compete. Are you working? Can you get a cash prize? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, in fact, it's had a very, very big effect on a future project that we did, but we'll talk about that later.
Cole from Maryland. I was just curious. With the knowledge Zava was disqualified from the showdown, not the show itself, if she hadn't been in the bottom that week, would she have continued in the competition without issue, in your opinion? Or was the issue something that would have come up regardless?
She was disqualified from the entire show. It wasn't just the Hellbound Showdown. If she hadn't been in the bottom and the same thing had happened, she would have also been disqualified. Now, I don't know if the same thing would have happened had she not been disqualified. So it's tricky.
Okay, sometimes Drac and I's mind works in the exact opposite way, which is usually sometimes it's a superpower. But right now, when she just answered, I got completely mind melted and confused. So I'm going to answer, and if it's the same answer, then it's the same answer. But I'm going to answer in my way. Zava would have been disqualified no matter what happened, just based on what she did that episode. So she did the challenge, she was in the bottom, she dropped, but she was going to go on to the showdown, and then the event unfolded, and then it was like, we have to say goodbye to this person.
Yeah.
And that's why and when they were removed.
Right. Gavin from Salt Lake City. Home of Mary Cosby asks, what are some challenges that you both face that us as viewers don't get to watch? Or what is your least favorite thing that you have to get ready for a season of Dragula? Now, those are two different questions. Mm-hmm. I would say I don't think people know the business challenges that we face. It's very difficult to make the show for a lot of reasons. And I don't think people understand, like, scripted TV and film is a lot easier to make than a reality competition show. That is the truth. Mostly because you're dealing with a full cast of people that are unpredictable, come with their own baggage, and are not used to working in TV and film. So it's very complicated. You're also housing all those people, feeding all those people, making sure they're taken care of. There's just a lot of sort of business stuff in the background that's not fun. So that's something I think people don't see. My least favorite thing to get ready for a season, I would say like budgeting and pre-production. That used to, now it's better now because people do it for us, but used to, I mean, the hell that we would go through for months, it was insane. It was crazy. And I'm so glad that we don't have to do all that. I mean, we're still involved, but not like, it's more like at the final stages, the beginning and the final stages than in the middle. And the middle's what sucks.
Back in the day, it was me, Drac, and Ian that were carrying a huge weight when it came to pre-production and budgeting, and really kind of doing jobs that I don't know that we should have been doing, but we kind of had to do to get where we were going.
I mean, I'm glad we did because it taught us a lot about production, and now we can, someone can come to us and be like, I want to make a music video for $50,000. I'm like, well, that's too little, or here's what you should do. And we could throw a shoot together from a TV show to a music video to a movie.
Yeah.
So it's a good experience to have, but I certainly don't wish that curse on anybody else.
It's horrible. It's a nightmare. I think for me, the thing that came up, and I agree with you though, like all of the business aspects and the hoops that we have to jump through to execute a season of the show, huge. I don't think viewers could get their mind around it. But the place that my mind went to first was the kind of physical demands on me and you when it comes to doing a season of Dragula.
Yeah.
We start pre-production, we start pre-production, and that goes for 3 months of intense mind work.
Daily.
Like daily. Not Saturdays and Sundays off, like every day. And
yeah, it's people, we're not just like, oh, we're in drag and we judge it and we,
Yeah.
I'm doing insurance policies and it's not fun stuff. Like we're executive producers of the shows, we're the writers and we're the directors and we're the hosts. It's a lot.
Like when we do a season, we are married to it for like close to a year.
Yeah.
So then it's the physical challenge of actually shooting, which is 12 hours a day, sometimes more, 6 days a week for months, and you're not sleeping a lot and you're very uncomfortable. Like you're corseted, it's heels, you're blind, there's claws, you're in the desert, it's hot. Like you have to sit there and just literally be in pain for hours because you can't change your look. It's crazy.
Well, we also get there. So here's a little glimpse into our day. Days that we're in drag on the show, the crew, let's say the crew has to get there at 10, right? Because crew calls 10, they come in, they set up for an hour because everything's already set up. They just have to turn on the cameras, have some coffee, and get started.
Right.
We have to get there 3 hours before them. So we're the ones that get there before anybody else. And I'll tell you, last year, we would pull up and those fucking trailers would not be turned on, and it would drive me insane. Jose, if you're listening right now, I could still kill you for that, and I will punish you later. No, but it was frustrating because we get there before everybody else. So nothing's turned on. There's nothing around. There's no coffee. There's no anything. And it was weird. But so for us, it's more like a 15-hour day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Kristen in Dallas writes, my question is about the extermination challenges and contestants getting the chop. When the challenge is complete, do you tell the monsters right then and there who made it and who was out? Would you consider putting this on camera in the future? Nosy bitches like me want to see it all. Generally, they do not find out right then and there on the spot. It will be the next day, and this is like, it's so intense, and I'm really glad I have a distance from this whole thing. But when the remaining competitors are in the lab and someone walks back in the room, they're finding out in that moment who survived.
Probably 5 minutes before they walk in.
So let's say, for example, Abora was up for extermination, and that morning when Abora goes to set, Abora does not know if they are going to be on TV today and do this challenge, or they're going to get to set and then find out that they went home and then turn around and go right back to where they were.
Yeah.
I mean, we drag it out. And so when the competitor finds out moments later, the rest of the cast finds out, and that is what we want to capture on film.
It's very hard to do. I want to remind people of season 6, episode 1, when we went to Hawaii to do shark diving, and I was on the plane and I was there the whole time. And, we had the 2 people that were up for extermination come with us, and literally they got off the plane, went directly to set. 5 minutes before action gets called, one of them gets told they're out, and one of them gets to walk in the room. And you got to think about the intensity of that. I don't know if other shows do that.
That's when Aurora slipped on her little bikini t-shirt from Hawaii and walked back in the lab.
I think Severity thought she was staying up until that moment too. And as far as would we put it on camera, I'm going to tell you this right now. Absolutely not. That is when you see the worst in people. When we tell people that they've been eliminated, that is when the worst, most reprehensible behavior is displayed from the cast. And I see sides of these people that I don't like. And it happens often. In
fairness, though, some people show that and that's where it ends. But a lot of people will come back from that.
They do,
that emotional,
but they say stuff that I don't forget. You know, it's hurtful. It's a very sore loser vibe in my opinion. I don't like that. But anyways, I get it a little bit. Luke from Manchester, England. I've just listened to the latest podcast, and the critique of Disasterina was that her look was too literal and on the nose. Krampus. Curious what your thoughts are about Sigourney's look in the same vein. Did you not feel that was a literal Statue of Liberty look? I did feel like it was a literal Statue of Liberty look, but it was altered. It was debased. So I think she used an iconic image as a vehicle to show filth by debasing an iconic symbol of America.
Yeah.
Whereas Krampus was just like, I'm Krampus.
To Disasterina's credit, there was a gender swap and maybe a little bit of a color swap, but that just wasn't necessarily like the distortion, I think, of the theme that we saw with Sigourney.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like if I don't know, if Krampus had eaten Santa Claus and they had merged and become half beings or something. I don't know. So you got to do something with it, Not quite the same.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, I'm trying to think of something weird you could do with it.
I get what you mean.
Smart ass.
Just being playful, relax. Giova? Okay. Giova writes.
Giovanni!
Oh, Dorinda Medley, I love you. Giova writes, my question is regarding the casts of monsters overall. How come have we had this is a very interesting way to write. How come we have had so few monsters from Eurasia? I feel like as a European, every prompt would be heavily enriched by having some more representation from countries where some scenes are deeper into our culture. Examples could be the Northern European punk movement or Asian Gothic fashion. I actually really respect this question and this perspective, but we cannot force people to audition.
Right.
We cannot force talented people to audition. Do we get auditions from all over the place? Yes, we absolutely do. Are they all ready for TV? Hell no. And I would love and invite these kind of like cultural perspectives, and kind of backing up to something that we said earlier. I don't understand everything. I don't know every reference. And I don't need to. What I do know is like what the criteria of the challenges are. And when someone has an interesting perspective and they know how to deliver their weird message to a specific audience, and I am that audience, they do it well or they don't. So I don't necessarily need to know the myth of Norway when it comes to Christmas or whatever the challenge might be, but I can see the spirit of the artist when their work is on the stage. And I would invite people from those regions to audition.
I agree with that. I mean, there's another aspect to it, which is as much as people from Eurasia may love the show, some of them don't want to come to the United States right now. It sucks. Like they see the news from their country, and it looks like some kind of rebel backwoods, like Trump hellscape, and they don't want to come here. And people from different countries are getting captured and thrown in these weird pits and shit. I'm just like, I don't blame them for not wanting to come here right now, you know? So sure. We'll see how that affects casting in the future. Matt from England asks, my question is about the reveal of the looks. You've said you direct the floor shows and inspect the looks. So much impact on the viewer is the reveal. The editing this week was great, both for Bora's tree reveal and soundscape, and also for the stomping footstep sounds on Sigourney's statue. If you're directing and inspecting, are you denied some of the joy of a reveal of the full look? Yes. Absolutely, because we talk to each of them before they come, when they're backstage, before they do their runway, we go out and talk to each of them. So I see them. Now, oftentimes they're in the pitch dark. They're not in the stage lights. So a lot of times, this, I'll be like, what the hell am I looking at right now? Like there's like a blob with ooze coming out of it and a ship sticking out this. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. So sometimes it gets spoiled. Sometimes it doesn't.
Right. Like the shadows are your friend. Also, we will swap off, right? Like sometimes I will be the one backstage and Drac will get that reveal moment because you're out in the booth or watching at Video Village. And then sometimes you will take that position and I will be able to see, when they turn the corner and they go on the turntable, I'm getting the same reveal effect that an audience member might.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we have to know what they're doing and what their gags are and what they have planned because we're directing it. So we have to make sure cameras are on it and all that stuff.
And we've been doing it, I think, long enough to suspend our judgment. Imagine what the surprise would be like without maybe necessarily experiencing it every time.
Yeah. I think as we talked about earlier in this episode, it does create a bit of a disconnect between our opinions and the audience's opinions. And that's something we might want to adjust in the future.
And finally, Adam from Scotland writes, what made you guys decide to keep Dahlia and not disqualify her after causing so much bother to both the cast members and production, but most of all causing issues with a judge? That's insane to me. She must have been breaking some of the contract rules, right?
That's a hard question. Was she breaking? I'm sure she was breaking some of the contract rules.
Which wouldn't be the first time,
No, lots of them do it. Sometimes there's a price to pay for that isn't necessarily that you get kicked off the show. Mm-hmm. At that point, she obviously hadn't done anything worth disqualifying her from the competition from. Like causing trouble certainly does not warrant getting kicked off the show.
Yeah, I think it would take more than that. And it only got to the point where it was sort of reaching maybe like a critical level, but also there were problems with the drag too. Did we get to the point where like, I think it's this person's time?
Yeah. Yeah, the behavior behind the scenes influences our decision. We've said that before, but she didn't get kicked off like that. All right, everybody, that's all we have for this episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night. I'm going to give you fair warning now. The next episode of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans Season 2 is delicious. It is probably the best live show performance that we have ever had on the show in the history of the show. So make sure you watch it. Make sure you watch it Monday night, and then join us back here for a post-mortem recap of the Boulet Brothers Titans Season 2. We'll see you then, uglies.
Good night for now, partners.
The Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night is hosted and produced by Dracmorda and Swanthula Boulet, with music by Neuron Spector.